Akatsuki will deliver.
They held onto that key a little too long, but hello. Two screens. Hello, hello. Hello, Sivia. Hello, Reborn. Hello, Doof. Hope you're all having a good day. Be sure to blink a few times, otherwise your eyes will dry out, and then you'll miss the stream. Probably. I mean, I guess you can still hear it, and that's good enough. But welcome back to the video game that everyone asked for. Except they didn't. So, I have been working on a art thing, but I keep forgetting, because I'm like, oh, well, I don't really feel like it. I should just go play more Zelda. So I do. Alright, I forgot I can use the controller. I'm still used to playing Spirit Tracks with a mouse. I'm not going to recap because I feel like they're going to recap for me, and they'll do it better than I will. But we're at the trial of the past. We're at least gonna have a retrial of a thing that happened a long time ago. I think it was 7 years. Which also apparently started this Dark Age of the Law, etc., etc. I hope a third thing doesn't show up to be the Dark Age of the Law. I'm not sure what it would be. It couldn't be all the prosecutors that tried to kill people, or did kill people. But, either way, I don't know what else to say, so I guess I'll just go ahead and start, because who cares? I did a little research. I looked into those special psych locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. Oh, you know about those, huh? You did? That's great! I really appreciate it. Yeah, it turns out they're unbreakable, and if you see them, you'll probably die in the next year. That's weird. A red psych lock protects a secret person constantly trying to hide. If the person folds under questioning, the lock breaks and the truth comes out. Yep, that's exactly how I got the truth out of Detective Fulbright and Director Cosmos. Detector Cosmos. But a black psych lock protects a secret from the deepest place in a person's heart. The stomach. A secret that the person isn't even consciously aware of. Even they don't know it's there, which is why it can't be broken. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself. Just had a thought. I really wonder if they'll, like, combine all of our super lawyer powers. You know, we'll have, like, detecting someone's emotions while we're unraveling a secret. And the whole time, Apollo's watching to see if they lie. I don't know how you'd even do that. What super lawyer power would you like to have? I have to apologize to Apollo, but I wouldn't go with the bracelet. It's a little tacky. Also way too big. Yeah, best we can do is just introduce a new one. Your next lawyer power is, you can see the shades of their soul. And by connecting the collars, you can... Wait, no, that's... The emotion thing's kind of based on Simon Says collar scheme, so... What's another game? What's another really popular game? Rubik's Cube. You have to use a Rubik's Cube on their soul, and... if you line up the facts right, it creates the picture you can see. It is the most basic 4 colors, yes. That's why Simon Says used it. I just went with Simon Says because he's in the game, and they've made that joke several times. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself. Also, I don't think I ever actually played Simon Says. I've definitely broke a Rubik's Cube, though, so there's that. Okay, so all you have to do is break the Cyclocks. If you do that, her brain will explode. According to my research, which Maya gave me, a black Cyclock is like a heavy chain wrapped directly around one's heart. If they are ripped off by force, it could cause permanent damage to a person's soul. In other words, if I'm not careful, I could traumatize Athena for good. Ugh. Pearls, could you stay by Athena's side? Yeah, and I mentioned soul. Ugh. Must be suffering under a weight of such a heavy burden. Such heavy chains. Alright, but will you be alright by yourself, Mr. Nick? I'm up against Edgeworth. What do I have to worry about? I have to be able to give this trial all my focus and strength. And you can't do that if I'm there. I'll just hold you back. What? No! Other way around. No, that's not it. I just meant I can relax and concentrate if I knew you were with Athena. You're the only one who can do it, Pearls. Alright. I'll do it then. Good luck, Mr. Nick. Like, Pearl, you help me focus. I wonder if she's as tall as Mia now. It's kind of hard to tell with their models. Now that my mind is at ease, I'd better get ready. I'll just tidy up the evidence and take out what I don't need. Will this knife disappear? I still need that, but... Time to end this nightmare that started 7 years ago. I'm guessing it already did it. Before I even said anything. Or before he said anything. Defense, prosecution, and judge. There are even people in the gallery. Who are these people? That one a robot? The roof has been completely blown off, we can no longer raise it, and the walls have collapsed. But today, this ruin is my battleground. Oh, there is a robot. He has such tiny feet. I was kind of hoping it would be Junie that would be the judge and not our usual judge. Because this isn't a real trial, but... You know, whatever. Also, with 5 or 4 other courts in session, like, does he not have a job? Or some facsimile thereof, facsimile, is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes. Not facsimile, old man, is a proper official trial. Oh, it's Aura. Take this more seriously or you'll start hearing the bones of the hostage snap. Please not try to upset Miss Blackwell. I'm begging you. Ah, so now we know who it is. I mean, court is now in session for the very serious and very proper trial of Athena Sykes. I can see the birds circling over my head. He looks a little off with the glasses, but still so smug. This is no trial. It's nothing more than a ridiculous farce. What did you say? Edgeworth, did you not hear what I just said to his honor? However, this ridiculous farce has very important meaning for our legal system. Recall the case of the UR1 incident, in which prosecutor was found guilty of murder. Recall the case of the 4th or 5th trial that you were in, Phoenix, where another prosecutor was found guilty of murder. I was there for that. That ushered in the odious dark age of the law. I see what you're after. If we can find the real truth behind that case today. Precisely. The darkness will be dispelled, and the light root will shine across the room. And glory shall be restored to the court system. Prosecutor Edgeworth, you sound as if you know something of this truth. I do indeed. A new suspect has emerged in the UR1 case. For 7 years, Simon Blackwell's refused to speak in order to cover for someone else. Brace yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes. I'm sorry, right? But the situation is what it is, and I must do what I must. Prosecution moves to indict Athena Sykes on the count of murder in the 1st degree. Anime. Why did she?
The circumstance, I intend to question the defendant with all I have. For that is a part of my creed.
Alright, but why'd you take off your glasses?
Then you'd better bring it.
If the two of you are ready,
The two of you are done flirting.
court is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Your Honor, the defense was born ready.
The prosecution is also ready.
Very well. I will try to hit the things with my gavel and not some of this gravel. There's immense tension between us. It's like we're picking right up where we left off. Upright. It's my duty to clear Prosecutor Blackwell of the false accusations and end this insanity. But I have no intention of losing Miss Sykes either. She's a very promising young lawyer. I know that, without a doubt, Athena is innocent. But I don't think Prosecutor Blackwell did it either. It was someone else. It was you! Oh, do you have any clues responsible for the sabotage? At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy. What if it was herself? True culprit is a spy. It's gonna be hard to convince anyone of that when I barely believe it myself. But I don't have a choice if I want to save Athena and Blackwell and expose the spy. I'm sure something will come up. Now then, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth. That has a nice ring to it. No need for the Chief Prosecutor bit, Your Honor. I'm here as a simple prosecutor. Oh. Very well, your opening statement, please, Prosecutor Edgeworth. At least I know you won't yell at me. Although I've been known of late to give an impressive opening statement myself. In all the trials I've ever seen, only the prosecution gives an opening statement. Of course, you're right, I was just joking, just having a little fun. I didn't like it or anything, jeez. He wasn't doing them just out of fear. Interesting. Let's start with a brief overview of the UR-1 incident. The incident occurred at the Cosmos Space Center 7 years ago, on October 7th. The victim, psychologist Metis Sykes, was killed in the robotics lab on the 4th floor. Athena's mother. Yes, thank you. Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor at the time, was found guilty of the crime. And so he did the time. There were two deciding factors that led to his guilty verdict. One, Blackwell was the only person in the court or to the lab at the time of the murder. And two, this photograph, of which it always makes me laugh, which captured the moment of the crime. Very incriminating evidence indeed. To be on the completely other side of the room. It would appear the only conclusion is that Prosecutor Blackwell did indeed... Are you kidding me? I'm not accepting any conclusion of the kind. The opening statement is over. Now, hurry up and call a witness. Excuse me, Miss Blackwell, but we must follow proper procedure for these things, you know. Or perhaps we should heed her wishes, Your Honor. She is the trial's sponsor, after all. I appreciate that his glasses are still off. Besides, this courtroom is chilly, and sitting for far too long can't be good for your back. Oh, you are very kind to show such concern for the welfare of the elderly. Talking about myself? As skills ever at playing the court puppeteer, I see. Prosecution calls for its first witness. The witness who decided to bring forth a testimony after 7 long years. New testimony? Just who is this witness anyways? Simon? Oh no, it's you. Injustice we trust, Bobby Fulbright's the name! I said it backwards. What are you doing here? I'm just here to speak to the hostage taker, Miss Aura Blackwell. She says she's too busy, what with the confining and threatening the hostages and all. And making them soup. How kind. That doesn't seem to stop her from constantly chiming in through Clonko. I'm nothing more than an observer in this. Do your best. I'm watching you. Believing her brother innocent, Miss Blackwell has been conducting her own investigation. And though her current actions are hardly lawful, I think we can at least hear her theory. I have here Miss Blackwell's notes on the investigation she conducted. And I'll be giving testimony based on those notes. Here I go. I'll do my best to, sound like her. Ahem. Simon is not the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. Someone else was at the scene of the crime. Was at the scene at the time. They say Simon committed the murder. I mean, if he really was out to steal that moon rock, then why the rolling case? Rolling case? Because he was just using it to hide someone inside. That's why. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes. I got angry on her behalf. And that's Miss Blackwell's theory. It totally goes in the face of the official ruling, huh? About the case she mentioned, there were other ruling cases like that one in the lab, but they are not for traveling. They're barely for moving parts and equipment. I vaguely remember seeing 3 cases, all different sizes. Cases? The rectangle things back there? I guess they're cases. At the last trial, they thought that Prosecutor Blackwell used the case to steal the rock, even though they never found it. And they had a perfectly good reason to think that, too. You see, there's a security camera in the corridor that leads to the robotics lab. And that camera captured footage of Blackwell leaving the scene with the case. It's quite the case. And I can see why that footage helped bring the trial to a quick end. It's very convincing, that's for sure. 7-year-old video updated. That case, by the way, was later discovered outside the Space Center grounds. Speaking of after the incident, where was the defendant, Athena Sykes, found? She was found on the 5th floor of the Space Center in the Sykes family residence. Prosecutor Blackwell most likely brought her there after the incident. In addition, it's unknown where Miss Sykes was at the estimated time of death. Miss Sykes was too confused by the shock of her mother's death to give a proper testimony, and there was no witness or evidence to tell us where she might have been. Wouldn't the camera have seen him go up there? What you're saying is Miss Sykes didn't have an alibi? That is what the evidence is saying, yes. It's not what I'm saying. I understand the reasoning behind the theory, but I'm far from convinced. Victim is the accused mother. Are you actually claiming an 11-year-old girl? Of course, the girl had a very strong motive. Dr. Sykes was a psychologist who wrote many papers about speech and emotions. You're aware of the Athena Sykes' special ability, aren't you, Your Honor? I kinda just let them do what they're doing. Are you referring to that therapy thing? Yeah, she's done it quite a few times in court. The ability to read emotions from speech and the subject of her mother's research. Well, as long as it benefits society, I don't really care. I don't see any particular problem in researching it. I don't like where this is heading. Not one bit. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. Prosecutor Edgeworth, you seriously suggesting... I've done my best to be delicate, but even you can't deny it to be true, Mr. Wright. No longer able to withstand the anguish of those experiments. Miss Sykes felt her only choice was to kill her own mother. Something wrong with his eyes. Yeah. 11, apparently.
Hello.
Which makes sense. She's 18 now. And hello, Trauma. Hope you're having a good day. Order in the court. What a tragic story. I hardly want to believe it myself. Well, you must proceed. Mr. Wright, if you could. Detective Fulbright, please refer to the notes. All right. I'll make a note of the notes. Before I start pressing, I should probably double check my evidence, because it's been a while. I still don't know what that is on the tray. He's not wearing her coat, that's probably important. There is a case missing there. Moonrock was stolen. The Hope capsule can be seen on the workbench. There are rolling cases removing equipment, a robot charging station, and a toolkit on the floor. The hanging scroll and Japanese theater mask on the wall. And that didn't have anything. Between 1 and 3 p.m. on October 7th, cause of death, instant death due to a stab wound to the heart. From the presence of a human with their heartbeat detection system. Recognizes people by scanning their spacesuit uniform or jacket ID tag. That'll be important. Recognize a person by facial features. Once the face has been registered, can infer people's emotion by analyzing their tone of voice and communicate with them. Okay. And Moonrock Earring.
Hold it!
This rolling case. Suppose you mean the one that existed in the photo with Prosecutor Blackwell in it? But was absent in the crime scene the photos were taken? Did I even need to double check the evidence? They do it for me? Yes, that's the one, and Ms. Blackwell has drawn a conclusion from these two photos. She has! And what is that conclusion? You should know you read the notes. You're the one with her notes? Oh, right. Of course, reading them now, so why the rolling case?
Hold it!
And how do you propose he hit a person inside one of those cases? Have you forgotten that we saw just a thing only the other day? We did? At your own daughter's magic show, she fit a grown person to a small box. Sorry, just noting that Edgeworth and Phoenix both go to Trucy's magic shows together, apparently. Oh yeah! Way to ruin the memory of a good day. Magic show? Wish you had thought to invite me. Actually, I would have liked to go too. My apologies. I'll invite you both next time. I promise. I'm sure they did. Trucy's magic shows are probably really good. I mean, real magic is in this universe. Wait a minute, what are we talking about again? Prosecutor Blackwell's using the case to hide someone. Was Athena Sykes? That's nothing more conjecture, and it's hardly the only possibility. In that case, what do you think Prosecutor Blackwell had in that case? I think it was the moon rock.
Objection!
Objection! There were 3 cases at the scene, but the Prosecutor Blackwell used the largest one. The moon rock was egg-shaped, and only about 8 inches in diameter. Wouldn't have made any sense to use that largest case there just to move that rock. Objection? Be that as it may, doesn't prove Miss Sykes was inside. Then let me ask you this. Can you come up with a better theory of what was in the case? Well, Mr. Wright, can you? Yikes. Give a guy some time to think. Let's see. Should I try to bluff my way through what could have been in that case? Do I know how to do anything else? I know exactly what Prosecutor Blackwell carried from the scene. I just had to find something else that was missing, right? No sweat. Oh, I'd be very interested in hearing your theory. If it's true, that is. This is a crime scene photo taken after the Prosecutor Blackwell left, correct? All I have to do is compare this with this photo of the Prosecutor Blackwell seen to see what's missing. He took something with him, and it should be in one of these photos. Lady Luck, don't fail me now. Alright then, Mr. Wright, let's hear your theory. What did Prosecutor Blackwell take from the scene of the murder? I guess it's this thing, right? Because it's not on the... Yeah, it's not there. So, whatever the heck this thing is. Please notice there's a robot part on top of the card in this photo. However, in this photo taken after the crime, the robot part is gone. In other words, this part is something that was taken from the scene of the crime. You appear to be right. I don't see it in the second picture. But it's just a piece of junk. How important could it be? Is it really just an insignificant robot part? Speaking of which... What are you looking at? I'm gonna start charging for a glance per eyeball. For each glance per eyeball. Stingy, stingy. What happened to the age of free previews? Your Honor, about this robot part. Doesn't it look like it could be from an arm one of that robot over there? Well, now that you mention it, doesn't it? Does it? Covered in bandages. But the case is still too big to be practical for just a moon rock and a robot arm. But was it really just the one arm that was there? Wasn't Athena in that case, then maybe... I believe there's another robot in the scene that looks just like the one here. Your Honor, his defense assertion that it was this other robot that was in the case. What? Objection. We can't be certain that part belonged to a robot. Yes, it looks like the arm of one before us, but it could just be something else entirely. We could just ask the robot in front of us. Besides, it's wrapped entirely in bandaging, making it difficult to verify what it is. I know for a fact this is a robot arm. I can even tell which robot it belonged to, just by looking at it. This information, we can investigate whether it was there at the time or not. Oh, Mr. Wright, I thought you were more of a technologically illiterate type. Rude. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned. Not to worry, Your Honor. I still know next to nothing about machines. But I know this piece of evidence proves that which robot the arm belonged to. Yeah, I do too. You guys do as well, right? Uh-huh. That's what they are, but... Oh yeah, I guess it's this. I was wondering about the bandage. But I'll be honest, I didn't really think of the bandage on its arm. I was only thinking of the one on its head. So, take that. Robot in this picture is named Ponko. Take a look at the Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that. I must have thought machines heal in the same way that people do. How cute. What an adorable, naive mistake. Reminds me of my own grandchild. Ah, if only they weren't a robot. Robot arm at the crime scene had the same bandage wrapped around it. In other words, this robot arm could belong to none other than Ponko. Order the court! Order! Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you have to say to this? I can see the robot is about the same size of a child, but it cannot grab its knees and curl itself into a ball. I think. Does it have knees? It has legs, but it doesn't mean it has to have knees. I feel like we've been down this road before. Even if it was the largest of the cases, the robot couldn't have possibly fit in there. Case does come up to about mid-thigh on Prosecutor Blackwood. I see your point. Robot is much taller than that. Is it? Hey, got me there. So then, Prosecutor Blackwood make Ponko fit in the case by... dismantling her? Of course Ponko would fit. All Prosecutor Blackwood had to do was dismantle her. Once taken apart, the robot could have easily fit inside the rolling case. Appears to be a robot assembly device. Disassemble anything in a flash. Push the dismantle button. That sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick? Sounds rather violent. Mr. Wright does have a point there. Objection. Since there was a body at the table where the robots are dismantled and assembled, there would have been no room to take the robot apart. Objection. But, what if it wasn't done on the table? What if the katana was used instead? You mean the sword? Yes, Your Honor. Miss Blackwell. I'd like your opinion as a woman of science. Is it true the katana could have been used to take the robot apart? I suppose so. Their joints aren't made of very tough material. I mean, look at this one I smack around. A blade could still slice through them. Especially, you know, Simon's. Thank you for your expert opinion, Miss Blackwell. Thank you, we now know. Instance of the severed arm in this photo proves that Ponko was taken apart. In addition, since the rest of Ponko was not found at the scene, we can conclude that true meaning of this photograph is very different from the original interpretation. You can't mean... Yep. Exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder. Instead, a picture of the moment after the robot was sliced apart. Blood you see where the arm was cut off was transferred by the bloody katana. That does make sense. I don't know why he wouldn't wipe it off, but, you know. Most likely, the rest of Ponko is scattered around Prosecutor Blackwell's feet. Not hearing this. Don't have ears. Deprogramming audio. Therefore, what was transported inside that case was not the defendant, but a robot. Miss Sykes was never at the scene at the time of the murder. Ah. My head. My head. My body. Where am I? Who am I? Oh, there it is. Found it. This stupid hunk of junk. Why is she still playing as if she's the robot? I wonder if she's like linked with the brain. With her brain. It's true that Ponko was found in the pieces after the murder. And I'll admit I repaired her myself afterwards. She remembered nothing. Yeah, finally making some progress. Hopefully I've gotten at least one step closer to proving both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell innocent. Objection. Well played, Mr. Wright. You made your point abundantly clear. I can see that it wasn't the defendant inside the rolling case, but the robot. Alright, what's going on here? It's never good when you place things this straight. Don't read into that. Prosecution withdraws its claim that the defendant was carried from the scene. No, Your Honor, my claim hasn't changed. The Ponko and Miss Sykes couldn't have both been inside that case. Notion that the case was used to carry Miss Sykes was Miss Blackwell's theory. I have been of a different opinion from the outset. Now I finally have an opportunity to voice my theory. Thanks to the defense. Edgeworth, he's been one step ahead of me this whole time. In that case, how do you suppose the defendant left the crime scene? Simple. The footage only shows Prosecutor Blackwell from behind. What's more, he's holding his arm in front of his body. As if he were holding something or someone. Wouldn't it see him turn? That's hardly evidence. I have proof. The surcoat Prosecutor Blackwell was wearing. The victim's blood was found on the front of it, and the stain had a highly distinctive shape. A blood stain? With a distinctive shape? Please continue, Prosecutor Edgeworth. The shape of an egg, like a moon rock. 7 years ago, the defendant was known to constantly wear a certain item, of which there was only one in the world. A special pair of headphones made just for her. Kinda looks like rabbit ears. Just, 4 of them. She always wore these big, heavy-looking headphones. Said her mother made them for her, as part of her research. Analysis showed the bloodstain to be the exact same shape of these headphones. In other words, this was no mere blood splatter. The blood went from the victim's body to the headphones, and then back again. Was imprinted on the Prosecutor Blackwell's coat like a stamp. Most gruesome stamp indeed. Hard of hearing. Blackwell carried Miss Sykes, who had been hit by a splatter, away from the crime scene. This proves that Athena Sykes was, without a question, present at the crime scene. And that concludes the prosecution's argument. Yeah. But did they find the headphones? Order! If the defendant was indeed the scene, it deepens the suspicions against her. You've also shown the robot was there at the scene. Well, the robot was at the scene as well. I hope you're not making the ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the real murderer. I don't really think that, no, but can't say the possibility isn't there. Detective Fulbright, was the robot questioned at the time? No, I don't see any record of it. I believe it was considered unrelated to the case on account of being a stinking robot. As it turned out, the robot was actually integrally related. Integrally? Your Honor, defense would like to call Ponko to the stand. A robot witness? Not the weirdest thing, I guess. Order in the court. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you think about this? Mr. Wright has called all manner of witnesses to the stand over the years. Why not a robot? Nothing surprises me anymore with him. Very well, I will allow the witness. Bailiff, please summon the robot named Ponko. Yeah, Edworth put it best. I'm also surprised Ponko's just here. Yeah, I mean, we even had testimonies from birds and ghosts and clowns. Ugh, clowns. Witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is not Witness. My name is Ponko. Yes, I realize that, but when you are at the witness stand, you are the witness. No, I'm not. I'm Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko. Ugh, what an utterly inflexible little robot. You're the last person who should be calling anybody inflexible. Ah, you remind me of my grandchild just learned his own name. How precious. Alright, Ponko, I'm going to ask you some questions. Questions? I love questions. You have questions? Hooray! What are your questions? I want to know if you were there at the scene of the murder of Metis Sykes. It was 7 years ago on the 7th of October at 2 p.m. in the robotics lab. Certainly. Just one moment. Searching data. Searching data. Data not found. Search complete. Yeah! I was there in the robotics lab. It seems this robot's testimony is necessary to the case after all. This is great. I just knew Ponko must have seen something important. Now how do we get it out of her? Murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. It's inexcusable. The judge seems ready to adopt Ponko as another grandchild. So, little Ponko, do you think you can give us your testimony today? Searching data. Data not found. Don't know what that is. What I saw. I went to the robotics lab at 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything. After I charged up, I was cleaning the room and Mr. Simon came in. And then an error occurred. There is no data after that point. Well, that sounds like the defendant was, without question, at the scene. However, that doesn't appear the witness saw the actual moment of the murder. I disagree. The testimony shows that the defendant did indeed commit the crime. Eh? What? At the end of the day, we mustn't forget that the witness is still a machine. Being a robot, its understanding and capacity to express itself are limited. So what are you suggesting? The witness's statements need to be interpreted. For example, the terms hugged and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down after being hugged by a child. Ah, speak for yourself. When my grandchild hugs me, they tackle me right to the ground. They don't, but... Yes, what this witness's statements are telling us is... that the defendant stabbed the victim with a murder weapon during this moment. What? What? Before Miss Sykes hugged Dr. Sykes, did the two of them converse? Yes, they did. They spoke to each other very loudly, but I don't know what they said. I think it's usually so quiet, so I was surprised. Spoke very loudly. We can interpret this to mean they argued. I see. Murder after a heated argument, and then the victim fell down. I think that does sound like a reasonable interpretation. However, Ponko doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that. When I am recharging, I go into sleep mode. I remember everything before that. I have a very good memory. You may as well admit defeat now, right? A cross-examination would be useless. Don't be ridiculous. Cross-examination is never useless. Well, true. Until now. Think about it. Robots don't lie. Yes, we never lie. This robot is both an important witness and a valuable evidence at the same time. Nevertheless, I will have my cross-examination. Alright. I see you haven't changed. You never were one to worry about wasting time. Very well, even if it may be a waste of time, you may proceed, Mr. Wright. I'll show you both just how fruitful my cross-examination can be. Possible it wasn't one of them. Uh-huh. Hugged her, huh? Which Ezra took to mean stabbed her with a weapon. Said the two of them were talking before Miss Sykes hugged her mother, is that right? Yes, that is, they were talking very loudly, but I couldn't tell what they were saying. Couldn't tell? Even though they were speaking so loudly? I'm only allowed to listen to voices that are directed at me. If it listened to every voice, it would be little better than a mobile eavesdropper. Well, that explains why some of Ponko's testimony is so vague. It's a shame that our little friend wasn't listening in, however. We could have learned what they were talking about just before Dr. Sykes was killed. Now then, what happened after that? That is a weird way to program something that's really good at hearing stuff.
Hold it!
I don't want to delve too deeply here, but... Can you tell us how the victim appeared and acted at this moment? Tommy Mathis was very surprised when she was hugged. I heard her heart pound. Her heart? Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this document we found in the robotics lab? These robots have a heartbeat detection system. Now that he mentioned it, I do remember reading something like that there. They detect the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeats. But wait a minute. That means... Dr. Sykes really did die at this moment. Ponko, how was Dr. Sykes after she fell down? You still heard the sound of her heartbeat? Let's see. The moment she fell, her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know. I saw her recharging just then. All the unlucky timing, if you'd heard anything after that. Could have possibly proved the hug wasn't actually the moment of the murder. I'm very sorry. I'm afraid I don't know. I'm very sorry. The robot is designed to go into sleep mode automatically, so it can't be helped. But it does appear that it detected an increased heart rate at the moment of the stabbing. Usually when I get stabbed, my heart stops, but... After Mommy Mantis' heart started pounding, it's surprised she fell down by the window. It was the round window, on the workbench side of the room. The workbench, huh? Uncle must be talking about the table, the right where that giant robot is now. There's something critical about Ponko's statement. Why do they still ask me this? Your Honor, I believe the statement is critical. I'd like it added to her testimony. Very well. Ponko, could you please add that statement to your testimony? That's a good little girl. Should I present the thing here? Because, I mean, obviously she didn't do that. There's no blood or anything over there.
Objection!
Ponko, your statement may have just inspired a breakthrough. I was helpful. Hooray! I'm so happy. I don't know what breakthrough means, though. Just to be sure, let's go over it again, okay? The victim fell near the window of the workbench side of the room. However... her body was discovered on the operating table. But the operating table and the workbench are two different locations. Yeah, thanks, Judge. Exactly, Your Honor. We've just learned a new crucial fact. What could explain the two very different locations of the body? I'll tell you what. Even if Athena wanted to move the body, I don't think she could have. 11-year-old girl couldn't have moved the heavy body of an adult. The only explanation is that the victim walked to the operating table herself. I can read. In other words, what Ponko observed near the workbench couldn't possibly have been the moment of the murder. Phew! I'm very relieved to hear that. Glad to know the murder wasn't committed in front of a little Ponko here. Yeah. Yeah, as we just heard in the testimony, Miss Sykes hugged her mother, nothing more. Probably pushed her, but... Objection. No. Right. It's been 8 years and you're still just as green as ever. I'm blue, thank you. Green? I can't recall ever seeing Mr. Wright in anything but a blue suit. I think you've seen him in his little, like, beanie and hoodie, right? Hey, blue's my favorite color. What can I say? How fitting, I guess, that we're here. Would he recognize him? That's fair. Most people wouldn't recognize Phoenix with his beard. If the defendant couldn't move the body herself, she could have had it moved for her. Moved for her? Miss Sykes and Dr. Sykes were the only ones there. I agree. Since this robot is equipped with a heartbeat detection system, would have been aware of another person's presence if someone else had been there. We can therefore conclude the defendant and the victim were the only ones present. Who do you suggest move the body? Don't you know it's in the nature of a robot to help people do things? Miss Panko. Allow me to ask you a question. My name is Panko. Say it with me. Panko. I believe you said you were cleaning after Dr. Sykes fell down. You happen to move something large on the operating table? Yes, I did. Athena asked me to. Athena asked you to? What did you move, little Pongo? I don't know. Unless something has an ID tag, I can't tell what it is. That's also bad design, but an ID tag, you say? Yes, a tag with a barcode on it. We robots scan them to tell what a thing is. Ah, that paper in the lab did mention something about that. As people by scanning their spacesuit or uniform jacket ID tag, it said. So it would appear that Miss Ponko here can't identify what it moved. My name is Ponko, not Panko. But we humans have the power to imagine what it was, do we not? Don't like that he's just ignoring Ponko. We do? Imagining things? That's news to me. Well, I do at the very least. Some people can't actually see images. Miss Panko, on the defendant's command, move the body to the operating table. Panko, did you really move Dr. Sykes' body? This is really important. Is there any way you could tell? I don't know. Without an ID tag, I can't tell. Give it up, Wright. The victim's heart was stopped. The robot's detection system would be useless. Furthermore, Dr. Sykes usually wore her white coat while she was working. Yeah, but she wasn't. She kept the jacket with her ID tag on it draped over a chair in the robotics lab, and only wore it for special occasions. In other words, the victim wasn't wearing her ID tag at the time. From the robot's point of view, her body was simply just another object. Objection! Ponko's equipped with a facial recognition system. If she really did move the victim, she would have recognized the body as Dr. Sykes. But she didn't, so that means... Objection! A face can easily be covered with a piece of cloth, a mask, or anything else for that matter. Just look at 2020. All those masks. With the facial features hidden, the robot wouldn't be able to tell it was Dr. Sykes. He's right. To summarize, Miss Sykes stabbed her mother near the workbench, then, using the robot, she moved the body to the table where she removed the sword and was stained in blood. Order, but if that's the case, then I have a question. Why did the defendant move the body to the operating table in the first place? You want a reason? Very well. But what? Can't possibly have an explanation. I have an explanation for everything, right? Your emotions blind you to the truth. You can learn a lot from our robot friends. Calm and rational thought will open your eyes to the truth in front of you, Mr. Wright. Robots can't see stuff, Edgeworth, unless they have an ID tag. I don't really want to see what they see. Now then, do you remember the operating table's one special feature? I believe I read robots can be assembled and disassembled there, isn't that right? That's right, and to the defendant, who was just a child at the time, the table was like a magic box that could make robots appear or disappear in seconds. In the end, my mom just put her on the operating table and fixed her in a flash. I was so impressed by what my mom did. I even asked her if she would put me on the table and fix me if I ever got hurt. Just like magic to me, what she could do. Yeah, well, you'd have a lot more nickels if just every partner he had was indicted of murder in some way. Or at least some crime. Poor Pearls, making a mess of that pot. You can't possibly be suggesting... This young, sheltered girl had a difficult time distinguishing robots from people. Take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that. I would have thought of machines heal in the same way people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. Reminds me of my own grandchild, who would also try to stab me on accident. No way! I refuse to believe it. Miss Sykes made a childish, naive, and cruel mistake. She thought if a robot could be dismantled and vanish without a trace. Don't even go there, Prosecutor Edgeworth. If you're about to claim what I think you are, I demand you word it as delicately as you can. With all due respect, Your Honor, all I can do is present the truth as it stands. The reason the defendant moved the victim's body to the operating table... Hold it. No, don't say another word. Just stop. Was to dismantle the evidence so she could get away with her crime. That can't be true. Probably the other way around. Put her back together would be more likely. Order the court, I say! Edward, she was just a little kid. How can you say such a horrible thing? Horrible? Like I said, you're just as green as ever. I came here today as a prosecutor to seek only the truth. No more, no less. My theory is simply the result of rational consideration of every possibility. But dismantling isn't the table's only function. It can make repairs as well. Conceivable that Miss Sykes moved her mother to the table in order to fix her. I suppose that could be another way of interpreting it. But dismantle or repair doesn't matter either way. What do you mean? After murdering her mother, Miss Sykes may have come to her senses. Perhaps she did want to make it appear as if it had never happened. And that's why she tried to repair her mother. Yes, that's one possible explanation. But we mustn't forget that the facts of this case. The victim was observed to fall down after being hugged by the defendant. The body was moved per the defendant's command. These two facts that indicate a defendant's guilt, remain unchanged. This can't be true. Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence to refute the prosecution's claim? Seriously, I mean, dig deep. I'll allow any bluff at this point. Evidence, right, let's see. Can't think of any. I'm afraid I don't have any evidence. Since becoming a chief prosecutor, I've learned that the truth isn't always pretty. Now accept the truth, Mr. Wright. Your subordinate murdered her own mother. You know, much like... yeah, whatever. Your Honor, the prosecution demands a verdict. The hostages have suffered enough. What a terrible and tragic conclusion. Defense is no counter-argument. I see no need to further prolong this trial. Edward's argument seems solid enough, but... no way Athena could have ever done anything like that. What do I do? It has to be something... but I can't think of a single thing! Brains are not blasting... Objection. Prosecutor Blackwell, you're here? Quite the farce you have conducting here. I could die from laughter. Prosecutor Blackwell, what are you talking about? What I'm talking about is that your argument is based entirely on a false premise. Go on, we're listening. Could this be the miracle I need? What is Prosecutor Blackwell trying to pull here? 7 years. For 7 long years. This case has been on my mind. Not for an instant did I not think of it. I'm the one who killed my mentor, and don't think you can alter that fact now. Your baldness, I'll take the stand, and I won't take no for an answer. Of course, Prosecutor Blackwell. Please go ahead. Where's your bird? Is it the one circling above me? Yeah, just right to it. I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes, but when I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. Not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And then I committed the act. Ah, how cathartic it was. Little Ponko here witnessed the victim falling. In other words...
Objection.
I don't need any of your other words, old man. I can guess what happened. Which would be... she fell means she failed. Merely that. Mother and child fooled around. Perhaps she tripped. Not that it matters. When I entered the lab, there was no trace of Dr. Sykes to be seen. No dead body either, of course. Meaning she must have left the room. Murder occurred after the time period Ponko described in her testimony. How they take stock in the words of a wind-up toy. That's very rude. Shouldn't be rude to Panko like that. Not just a wind-up toy. How do you explain the fact that the defendant had the robot move something? Athena was always tinkering with robots on the operating table to amuse herself. I always had Panko move heavy ones for her. That day was no different. Panko moved a heavy robot for Athena. It's weird that he's not calling her Sykes. This is awful. What he's saying seems to make sense, and yet... Prosecutor Blackwell, you trying, even now, to turn away from the truth? Don't you realize we could bring a dark age of the law to a close today? You expect too much from me. I'm just a murderer beyond redemption. Why don't you just let me go so I can settle down in hell? Get a nice chair. Prosecutor Blackwell's execution is tomorrow. If the truth doesn't come out now, it's all over. You saying the little girl and the robot had nothing to do with the murder? That's right, so let's hear your verdict. If we don't hurry, I might miss the ferry across the Styx. I got 2 coins in my mouth. Don't you dare, Judge. Don't you forget I have hostages over here. And Simon, shut up. How long are you gonna cover for her? Give me, Aura. Never wanted you to do anything like this for me. But you agreed to this trial. If you have a counter-argument, then present your evidence. That's the rule of the courtroom. Isn't that right, Chief Prosecutor? Blackwell, you selfish... Well, to be frank, hello, I'm Frank Judge. I don't like this, but it's my duty to make a decision. No one has a counter-argument, I will announce my verdict. This really happening? Is it really gonna end just like it did 7 years ago? I wanted to do it so bad. Even now I want to fly out here and go save him. No, I can't tell her. How can I lie to Athena? I can't prove Prosecutor Blackwell's innocence in this trial. I don't think Athena will ever forgive me. Can't let this happen. But I just don't have the evidence to counter Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. So press him for more information, you chump. Again? I'm here now. Where's Pearl? Athena, what are you feeling okay? I could hear it. I could hear the voice of his heart. He's hiding something. It really is. I sure could use Athena's help here. Why didn't my power activate? Her power might be the thing to get us through this. Objection. Sono. No need for you to chime in here. Just accept that you're innocent. Objection. No. These past 7 years. They've been just as hard on me, you know. What are you talking about? Do you remember? That, you know, it's my mother that's dead? That horrible, horrible trial. Please, you have to listen to me. All these faceless people. He didn't kill her. His heart is screaming that he didn't kill her. Even now, every time I stand in the courtroom, it comes back to haunt me. I'm here too! Not being heard, no matter how hard you try. Feeling so helpless. Caught in people's stares, so scared that it feels like your chest is in a vise. I'm terrified of courtrooms. I want to run out of that door even now. And yet you found a way to keep your fears at bay and become a lawyer. Thanks. That's because one day, I came to realize that I had to fight. I couldn't give up. Boom. I exercised hard and studied hard. I wanted to become the strongest lawyer I could be. This day has finally come, the day I've been looking forward to with all my heart. That's why I became a lawyer. This is why I studied psychology. It's all to save you from this false conviction. Well, Miss Sykes, do you realize what it would mean? You are the accused, after all. If you prove Prosecutor Blackwell innocent, then... The only thing that matters is the truth. It's my duty to find out what that truth is. Simon, please give me this choice. Chance. The chance to shake off this fear that's been with me for 7 years and to face the truth. Athena's being so brave, confronting her past like this, might really be the last chance to save them both. Prosecutor Blackwell, please testify one more time about the incident 7 years ago. Fine. But your efforts will surely be in vain, for I am not a man who can be cut down easily. Here we go, Simon. Let me hear the voice of your heart. Oh no, not that thing again. Where's my bird? Where's Taka? None of the little text things popping up mean anything. Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. When I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. Not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. Then I committed the act. Ah, how cathartic it was. Also, hey, young Simon. Younger Simon. This feeling of happiness. Even though the person you were looking for wasn't there, you felt happy. Why is that? Simple. When I was looking for Athena and I hadn't found her yet. I grew worried. When I saw her in the robotics lab, I was happily relieved. Merely that. That was a lot. Just now you said that you went to the Space Center to kill Dr. Sykes. But the first thing you did was look for her daughter instead? I had no intention of harming Athena, so I wanted to confirm that she was safe first. It was part of my plan. Nothing contradictory about that. The second I find inconsistency, he cuts it down. Simon knows the principles of analytical psychology. There's less noise now, but I don't see any instabilities we can latch onto. And I was afraid of that. Had to keep chipping away at him then, bit by bit. Could you update his testimony, Athena? You got it, boss. Found Athena in the robotics lab, I was relieved. Not be swayed from my purpose, I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. Aha. It went from happiness to sadness. Not even you can falsify your emotions, Prosecutor Blackwell. What? You said that you killed Dr. Sykes in your testimony you felt sadness. Why would someone who had laid in to wait to kill her would be sad at her death? Such an obvious attack. Yeah, I felt sadness, but it wasn't for her. Felt sorrow for Athena and her circumstances. I can't be talking about that, can he? I was just a convenient subject for research. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, he forced her daughter to undergo experiments. My objective was to save Athena from an obsessive scientist who treated her own daughter like a research subject. What? Went to the psychology lab first, that's where I would usually find Athena playing. But that day was different. Heard someone crying in the robotics lab next door. Was Athena being subjected to another experiment? I thought as I went to see. Conveniently, Athena had cried herself to sleep, so all I had to do was wait and kill. That's why he was relieved when he saw Athena. Is this story really true? I'm not sure how much to believe. Mr. Wright? How you doing, Athena? Still hanging in there? I'm a lot stronger than I look, boss. I could lift this whole bench. Now take a look at this. Noise level actually increased. That's a first. It went up. Never seen it do that before. Prosecutor Blackwell's lying somewhere in his testimony. As a matter of fact, he's piling lie on top of lie in an attempt to make his claim sound more believable. Trying even harder to suppress his true feelings, and that's what's causing the noise. How in the world should I approach this? I can either use an evidence-based approach if I find a contradiction. Otherwise, I should look for an inconsistency in his emotions. The But there are no flaws in my testimony, and his baldness is prepared to give his verdict. Give up on this lost cause and let the law free me from these chains already. I don't think so, not while I'm around. I can fix that. Now, contradictory testimony or inconsistent emotions. Which should I tackle first? Do I have anything that goes against his testimony? Go with emotions first. Okay, let's look for inconsistent emotions. Got it, boss. If I'm looking for a contradictory statement instead, just let me know. I can usually switch over. Hurried over and opened the door of the robotics lab. Gonna lead Athena out of there. Curse my luck, Dr. Sachs came in. Usually hand over Athena over, so I had no choice but to kill my mentor. Why are you surprised? How odd. Why would you register surprise at opening the door to the lab? Alright, fine. I'll explain if I must. What surprised me was Ponko. That toy figure attacked me. Dr. Sachs knew full well my plan to rescue Athena, but she couldn't stand guard over her daughter 24 hours a day. Dr. Sachs had Ponko do it. That's right, she ordered Ponko to forcibly remove me on sight. I slashed Ponko up with the katana that was there in the lab. That rickety old puppet wasn't worthy of that fine blade. Mr. Wright's happening again. Even more noise now. Back to 100. It's at 100% now. What's going on here? Every we find an opening, he covers it up with lies. He'll never get rid of the noise. We'll never get rid of the noise at this rate. It'd be hard to keep telling coherent lies like that. His mind and will really are as sharp and strong as a katana. Alright, what should I tackle first this time? I think it might be inconsistency is Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Alright, let's give it a thorough check. Ponko attacked me, retaliated by cutting into pieces. Alright, well we know that's a lie.
Objection!
Crowding lies with more lies is never the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Take a look at this photograph. Try not to have a laugh. That's a photo of the supposed moment of the murder, isn't it? How many more times must I see which darn me for my sin? Now, the ironic thing here, I think this picture is actually going to be your savior now. See the bloodstain at the end of Ponko's arm where it was severed with the katana? I hope you aren't claiming it's the robot's blood, Mr. Wright. They run on oil and sunshine. Now, most likely the blood was transferred there from the bloody katana. The katana already had blood on it, so then it must have been the victim's blood. That's right. But even if that was the case, we found a glaring inconsistency. Yeah. We did just go over this, yes. Otherwise it wouldn't have been updated. But you know, he doesn't... He's old, it's fine. In your testimony, you cut up Tonko, then you killed Dr. Sykes. But in spite of that, the victim's blood is already on Ponko's arm in this picture. What? But that couldn't be! Yeah, exactly. He's lying. In order for the blood to have transferred from the sword to Ponko's arm, the victim must have been stabbed first before the robot was slashed. In other words, Prosecutor Blackwell, your entire testimony is nothing but one giant ball of lies. Dang it. Seeing that from the fronts. Not what I wanted you to see. Tell the court the truth, Prosecutor Blackwell, now. You have no idea what you're doing. His voice. So much discord. Hearing not just one or two, but a bunch of rampaging emotions here. It's hard to describe. It's like a violent whirlpool or something. Phoenix Wright. No dono here. You will pay for this. Never I've been forced to reveal so much, but the rest I'll take to my grave. Prosecutor Blackwell, you were on the witness stand. You were obligated to tell the truth, even though everyone on the witness stand usually lies. Isn't that the rule of the courtroom? All the complex emotions seem to be flowing from one source. I think whatever he really saw today is what's causing these feelings. Following the sound of crying, I opened the lab door and then... I saw it! That terrible scene! Before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I had no choice but to kill my mentor. Root cause of all these emotions is this. Actually, not getting a particular reading there. I guess not that then. I figured the thing just wasn't described in the picture, but when you opened the door and saw Athena, you became overwhelmed by your emotions. Isn't that right, prosecutor? Should know better. And though it's pathetic, I admit I'm terrified to speak of it. Prosecutor Blackwell, Miss Sykes is innocent. I will always believe that with all my heart. Now can't you find that within yourself to believe in me too? Athena's innocent, huh? Can you honestly say you believe that to be true, right, Dono? I give you my word. Now tell me what you really saw when you opened that door. Curse you, Phoenix Wright. Dono. You do not know what you are doing. It was a tragedy. One I'll never forget. When I arrived at the lab, Dr. Sykes was already dead. Lying on the operating table, while the bloody katana lay on the floor. And standing between the two, covered in blood, was Athena. She smiled with a far-off look in her eyes, as she sweetly said, "Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her." That's what I saw. And now you have it. The truth that you so desperately wanted. No. Prosecutor Blackwell finally tells the truth, then this is what it is? It's beyond devastating. Tried to take my mother apart? I... Stop punching her heart. I don't need the punch sound effects. So it was me. I'm the one who killed my mother. Athena! As I said, right? The truth isn't always pretty. Murder, disassembly on an operating table, and a scientist using her daughter as a guinea pig. Sadly, it appears that my theory was correct after all.
Objection!
Objection! It's true Athena didn't like her mother's research, but you dare cast aspertins on my mentor by claiming Athena was used in such a manner? Dr. Sykes could be awkward with people. She loved her daughter with all her heart. She loved me. Your mother hated to see you suffer because you could hear the voices of people's hearts. Wanted to see you free of your pain, so she worked tirelessly on her research. Do you remember those headphones you hated so much? Yeah, my head hurt every time I wore them. No, Athena. Just the opposite. They emitted sound waves to nullify emotional input from the voices of people around you. Your power was much stronger than it is now. Those headphones were what enabled you to carry on with everyday life. No, that can't be true. Then why would I have done something like that to somebody who loved me so much? Love for you was real, that I can guarantee. That's why I knew that what happened had to be some kind of mistake. Couldn't let you be punished for it. Pretty sure his eye flashed when he was going forward. You took the blame yourself. You and your mentor are more alike than you know. Pongo was a witness, so I put it in the case, held Athena close, and vacated the lab. Threw Pongo away in the boarding lounge trash chute. I hid the case on the Space Center grounds. It seems that we now have all the facts of this case. Hold it. No, not yet. Can't end like this. Objection. Not disgrace yourself, Mr. Wright. Edgeworth, you know me. The truth has been revealed. Or are you not the type of man to turn your back to things that disagree with you? I'm not, but this... Can't give up now. Have to say something, anything, even if it's a bluff. I always managed to pull through that way in the past. I have to make it work. Defense is, prepared to present evidence. Mr. Wright. Yeah, Athena? It's okay. You can stop now. I don't want you or anyone else to suffer any longer for my sake. Athena, what are you saying? Where is Pearls? Killed my mother, that's the truth. Just like Prosecutor Edgeworth said. I have to face it, no matter how much it hurts. I admit my guilt. But could I please be granted just one chance to tell everyone what I recall? Here's Miss Sykes is much braver than you, Mr. Wright. What say you, Your Honor? In light of her courage, will the court give Miss Sykes this opportunity to confess? Very well. Then if you would, please take the stand, Miss Sykes. At least her eyes aren't blank. Thank you for letting me do this, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Thank you, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Blackwell, for letting the truth be known. Now we can finally move forward, and everyone's suffering can come to an end. Athena. Prosecutor Blackwell will be cleared, and the Dark Age of the law can come to an end. Yes, admit your guilt, and bring everything to its conclusion. I killed my mother. My memory's still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. Remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing deep. I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle into my fingers. Your Honor, please find me guilty. I dare say these are all memories that no one but the murderer would have. I see. Thank you for your confession. I believe this trial's gone on long enough. But, before we conclude, does anyone have a counter-argument? Yes. Objection.
Objection!
Objection! There's a clear contradiction there. I do, Your Honor. Mr. Wright! But, Mr. Wright... Why? I killed her. I remember it now. Any counter-argument now is pointless. Objection! Don't tell me you've forgotten one of the basic tenets of lawyering. Always believe in the client to the bitter end. Athena, you're not a murderer. Objection. I said that you never changed, but could you have actually regressed in these 8 years? No, actually, I got a little taller. Won't stand for your childish emotionalism get in the way of the truth. Emotionalism? Don't lecture me on the matters of the heart, Edgeworth. I've seen your office. Cause I can see straight into a person's soul. That's my lawyer power. Still 5. Are they red now? I did a little research. Look at those special psych locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. She isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself. Still a chance, somewhere deep in Athena's heart. Might still be a memory that not even she knows about yet. Might be like looking for a grain of sand somewhere in the cosmos, but still. Better than a haystack. The memory might contain a new fact that could prove her innocence. I hope for everyone's sake that you're not just bluffing, Mr. Wright. You do that a lot. Now then, is there or is there not a problem with Miss Sykes' confession? We literally just saw this. Definitely something wrong with her memory of the event, I could just tell. There's a problem with her confession. Please present it to this court now.
Take that!
Isn't that the katana the defendant used to kill the victim, Mr. Wright? I respectfully and vehemently disagree, Your Honor. But I remember holding the weapon and getting blood on my fingers. No, you don't. That's exactly my point. If blood really did get on your fingers while you were holding it, there should be blood on the handle. Please focus on the handle of this sword. There's not a trace of blood on it. And therefore, clearly a contradiction of the facts. You're right. Oh my! I'm glad we just got that one right out of the way. Defendant must have simply confused a portion of her memories. She mentioned it was hazy to begin with, and we can't mull over every minor detail.
Objection!
Edgeworth, please. In this case, please just shut up. But she also said there's no question I remember it, a fact we can't ignore. In that case, why don't you explain what this contradiction with her memories means? Gladly. Just give me a sec to think of something. I don't believe he actually said sec. I want to say Athena didn't stab anyone. But she said it herself that she remembers the feeling of committing the act. Think, Phoenix, think! What the contradiction with Athena's memories mean? Yeah. I remember it clearly. I killed my father with that gun that I don't remember actually shooting. Miss Sykes said the blood flowed down the handle, but Katana's handle is spotless. So doesn't it follow that the defendant must have used a weapon other than the katana? What are you up to this time? I don't know. I don't really know enough about guns to say if it's possible or not. It was a pretty old, like, revolver type gun, so. This is it. This time I found just the thing to end Athena's nightmare for good. Whatever that took Dr. Sykes' life was the katana. That much is for sure. I can show a possibility Athena didn't use the katana. Could help me prove her innocent. A different weapon, you say? What weapon would that be, exactly? Right. Of course he would ask that. I can see you're floundering, Mr. Wright. A lot of fish swimming around here. Did you speak without thinking again, as always? How's he do that? I can't back now. Not here, not now. That's right, I did. Because it's so obvious it doesn't require any thought. What did you just say? Okay, so maybe that was exaggeration, but there has to be something. Was there another blade weapon in the robotics lab that day? Maybe there's something in one of the crime scene photos. I don't really see anything bloody. Wait a minute, there is something! Oh, right, yeah, that one. There's a high probability that that was in the lab. You know, that thing. The thing that was always there. I don't have the particular weapon here in evidence right now, but I do have a piece of evidence just like it. Yes, it's that one. Other than the katana, this is another blade that may have been at the crime scene. Uh-huh, yeah, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Uh-huh, mm-hmm, yeah, mm-hmm. Well, there is the knife is the only thing I can think of. Because it would be in that toolkit, right? That's also the only thing I can think of that would, you know, be a reason for me to have this stupid thing. Hello, Emmy. Oh, well, congratulations. I hope you're having a good day. I guess it sounds like you are. Alright, gotta go with my gut. But that's the murder weapon in the Clay Terran case. I don't know, I was there. Yeah, this is the knife that took Mr. Terran's life. But there must have been a knife just like this at the scene 7 years ago as well. Toolkits containing utility knives like this are issued to the Space Center employees. Well, congratulations. I hope you enjoy life together. A robotics lab especially would naturally have one of these around. Objection. But, besides the katana, no other blade weapon was found at the site. It was in the investigation report, if you didn't know. Objection. You know you can't rely on those. Of course I knew that. What you told me just now. Then there's something else you already knew. There was a toolkit at the scene. But it didn't contain any blades. Here's a photo of its contents. What the heck are these? You're right, I don't see any kind of bladed tool. Fine, but isn't there something odd about the design of these handles? Therefore, there was no other bladed weapon in the room. Yeah, well, gee, maybe it's the spot that's missing something? And hello, Sanosuke. Hope you're having a good day. Yep. Therefore, there was no other bladed weapon in the room. Objection. I disagree. This toolkit contained a knife. And what proof do you have of that? Literally everything about it. Don't tell me your eye for art is failing you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You're the last person in the world that should be criticizing my aesthetic taste. I've seen your office. Now, he's simply watching out for your peculiar health. Please proceed, Mr. Wright. Wow, the shade. The shade of glass being thrown. Notice the handles for each of these tools have a sort of design on them. Ah, I see that they do. But what significance does that have? It's clear that one of the tools is missing from this kit. I mean, very clear. Like, you'd have to be blind. When you arrange the tools in a specific pattern, you might be able to tell which part of the overall design is missing. Is that the theory your pitiful sense of aesthetics helped you come up with? Edgeworth. Just let it go, man. I mean, he has somewhat of a point, Phoenix. You do have a very weird living room. Show the court, then, if you would. What pattern design would we see if we were to rearrange the tools? Probably the design of the... Do I do this? Like, I know it's their logo, but... No, you cannot put Sapphire in the oven. Like, I know it's this logo, but I'm not sure if the game wants me to point this one out. She's not really an AI, just a... program. I am full health, you're right. I don't know, I feel bad getting hit. I've gotten hit 10 times. Oh, which also reminds me I didn't actually change the thing. Whoops. I've had the wrong death counter on this whole time, that's for Zelda. Not that it matters at all, but... Also, I need to add a few to Zelda, because I did die. I don't think it does. Yeah, that's just the layout, so I guess it has to be this. Eh. And what design is this supposed to represent? The Gaiaxa logo, Your Honor. It's on all the Space Center's documents and pamphlets. As you're aware, Gaiaxa is the program that operates the Cosmos Space Center. Alright, it was that. Look how bright the Gaiaxa logo shines in the sunlight above the entryway. Really dig stars and rocket motif it's got going on. I bet multiple things would have probably worked for this. Gaiaxa, huh? It's the new name of the Federal Space R&D program? Ah, I think I see it now, but... Yeah, with just the tools shown in this photo. Ta-da! How did I do that with a photo? Don't worry about it. The red A part of the logo is missing. And this is where the murder weapon from the Terran case comes into play. If we were to place the utility knife in the open slot... Just don't worry about how we're doing that with a photo from 7 years ago. And yeah, beneficial that they didn't change anything in 7 years, but with their director in charge, he never would change anything. It would complete the Gaiaxa logo. So it would! Then that means... Minute, Edgeworth. My aesthetic sense is keener than yours! That's what this whole trial was about. And while you're at it, admit that the weapon Miss Sykes used could have been this one. Ugh. And also, yeah, you would just keep the old toolkits and old tools until they broke or something. It's like, I have a Swiss Army knife that's like 12 or 13 years old, and I'm never getting rid of it, probably. And the real battle has been won. We have a keener aesthetic sense. Our floating spaghetti on the couch wins. Miss Sykes confessed to having memory of stabbing the victim. Admittedly, Miss Sykes most likely did stab someone, using the utility knife. However, the weapon used to kill Dr. Sykes was the katana. Therefore, the act of stabbing that Miss Sykes remembers couldn't have been that of Dr. Sykes. Serious. Very well. Let's suppose for a minute that Miss Sykes did use the utility knife. Where is it? Tell me. How does that change anything? Come again? What if the katana was only being used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? Edgeworth, I'm going to remind you again, she is 11. Or was 11. What if the real weapon that took the victim's life was the utility knife? Don't be ridiculous. Are you changing the premise of your entire argument? I'm merely offering a hypothetical situation derived from your logic. Miss Sykes could have put the blood on katana to make it look like the murder weapon, and then concealed the knife on her personage until Blackwell carried away. That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Sykes' memories and the evidence. No, it doesn't. If, in fact, the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate has dealt you a cruel hand. Or you've just proven the knife's existence to the rest of us with your own logic. The prosecution is attempting to lead the court. Objection. You're the one attempting to lead the court, Mr. Wright, by forcing us to forget the facts of this case. I need to remind you that there were only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder. The defendant herself recalls stabbing someone with her own hands. No. Matters not whether the murder weapon was a katana or a utility knife or stinking, I don't know, Barney the dinosaur. As long as we know the victim and the defendant were the only ones there, you cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Sykes who killed her own mother. I don't believe it. Why? Why does this keep happening? Literally every case. Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes and the suspicion keeps coming back. It's almost as if you're cursed? Believe me, I know. Now you're finally starting to get. Your contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true. Suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because that's where it belongs. Phoenix Wright, when will you open your eyes and accept the truth? My eyes are always open! Yeah, see? But also, it's totally not true, so keep going. I don't want to believe it. Can't be true. But what if... Mr. Wright, you fought a good fight. I think you've done all you can do. Impossible. Is giving up really the only option? And then Maya comes in, kicks the door open, says, "Hey guys, I got burgers." No, snap out of it, Phoenix. What's the matter with you? Given unto doubt. Can't look back. Forward is the only way to go, even though this trial's in the past. No, Your Honor, not yet. It isn't over yet. Right. Can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I always believe in her, to the very end. Defense lawyer never gives up on his client. Had to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix. You know, wiggle it around, hear the jingles of a Korok seed there. If I don't see a way, I'll just have to go back and look for one. Time to go back to the past. Time to rethink this case thoroughly. Oh no, my brain! Not this again! See the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone with a utility knife. This must have been what Ponko witnessed as Athena's hug. Prosecutor Blackwood didn't see the knife at the scene. Means someone must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. Who could have taken the utility knife from the lab? Someone else. A third person was at the scene. If I trusted Athena, I have to conclude that there was a third person at the scene. According to Ponko's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only two there. How did the third person manage to escape Ponko's detection? This person must have fooled Ponko's facial recognition by covering... I've already got it. But wait a minute, Ponko has a heartbeat detection system too. Even if they covered their own face, Ponko would have detected their presence. But she wouldn't have been able to tell who they were. Wait, that's it! The culprit who covered their face and posed as which person to avoid detection. The culprit posed as the victim. That would explain why Ponko thought only she and Athena were there. All they had to do was take advantage of Ponko's basic recognition features. The culprit used this in order to pose as the victim. The culprit could have posed as the victim by wearing her jacket with the ID tag on it. Still leaves the heartbeat detection system. How'd the culprit get around that? Wouldn't have worked if Ponko could detect the real Dr. Sykes' heartbeat too. I mean, the real Dr. Sykes was already dead by that time? If that's the case, who did Athena stab? That's it! The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes. It was the person who murdered her and then pretended to be her. The real culprit. Brain blast. Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, and like, really, what was that whole thing? I could see your hair catching on fire. Let us bring this to a swift end. Please give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to hostage negotiation. Objection. Absolutely right, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I hereby objection. I didn't say I was finished. I didn't hear that bell. I was only pausing for a second. I realized something so shocking I had to take a break to digest it. But now I know for a fact that Miss Sykes is innocent. But Ponko saw me. She witnessed the moment of the crime. Yeah, Ponko did witness something. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment he used the utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother. What are you saying, Mr. Wright? Answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was a third person posing as Dr. Sykes. What? Objection. You really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? According to the robot's statements, there was no third person there. Did you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous grab for time? After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Why'd you call him Mr.? Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence? Annoyingly enough, yes. Ha! You make that pose all the time, regardless of the facts. Yeah, that's also true. Clonko's strange malfunction. Clonko? You mean Ponko? Oh no, you mean Clonko. Mr. Terran, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay? Mr. Terran, that's Apollo you're talking to. Oh, this hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo's possessed by Clay's ghost. That was another case of mistaken identity caused by the jacket ID tag. All because Clonko couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to that stupid eye patch. Like Mr. Edwards said, a mask could nullify the robot's facial recognition, and then all the person would have to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as her. Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them. No. So, I'm sorry, Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid. Because, by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating. What? So does that mean... Yes, Your Honor, the person Miss Sykes stabbed... This third person who was posing as Dr. Sykes... is her mother's real killer. But that's... impossible! A mask? The person I stabbed was wearing a mask? Order in the court! Miss Sykes, did you say something? A mask? Yeah, I remember Athena, what is it? Not the chains! I remember a man with a mask. How could he... What did he do to my mother? Just real quick. I don't remember which one had the picture. I'm assuming it was that mask. Sykes, are you alright? No. The Black Cyclops. They're breaking. Uh-oh. Oh good, the chains are gone. Hello, Cum. Hope you're having a good day. It's all coming back to me. Everything that happened to that day my mother was murdered. They're gone. The Black Cyclops are finally gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's alright, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day. I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mom. I opened the door, got on the floor, and then someone stabbed a dinosaur. Bye, Emmy. It's alright, I'm right here. You're safe, Athena. She was on the floor, by the workbench, with the katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief on over her face, but I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there. A man? Hold it. Quiet, Your Honor. just shut up for a second. Go on, Athena. Tried to attack me. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there and... He dodged at first, so I only got his clothes. But I tried again. And this time you got him, didn't you? I did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand. Then he kicked me and I passed out. Do we have to update that one? Then when I came to, my mom wasn't moving. It's probably the same knife. Dang it. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. So I asked Ponko to move her to the operating table. Something's wrong with Mom. I'm taking her apart to fix her. That's why she said that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Sykes arrived. A man who covered the victim's face. And put on the victim's jacket. This man is the real culprit. Miss Sykes, do you have any idea who this man was? No. I'm afraid I don't. A few moments ago, Miss Sykes mentioned a mask. Athena, can you tell us anything about that? Yes. The mask. It was my mom's Japanese theater mask. I think it was the one hanging on the wall of the lab. Ah, the mask hanging here on the wall that Bridley was already looking at. It's kind of spooky, that mask, my mom used to tell me. That no mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human being into a phantom. A phantom? It would seem. New suspect has emerged. That means that all suspicion against Miss Sykes is... Hold it. You see, this is precisely why I can't trust the court system. Miss Sykes is the murderer. I won't accept any other verdict. This Blackwell is not good. A new suspect? Where's the proof that this person ever existed? That is literally in the past, 20 minutes of the court record. Who says it all wasn't just a dream, little princess's groggy little head? Yeah, she's right. We don't have any hard evidence of the masked man's existence, considering no one else can see my psych locks. Objection! Thank you, Mr. Wright. I'll never be able to repay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now. Because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother. Athena, so glad for you. More and more memories are coming back now. So I'd like to say one thing if I could. Ponko came to the robotics lab about 2 p.m. to recharge. I went to the robotics lab about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After I was recharging, so I don't know anything. I see where you're going with this. If Mommy Metis was really the killer in disguise... Right. Then he must have come to the robotics lab before 2 p.m. Have anything here in the evidence that can help me find the person who came to the lab before 2 p.m.? Do I? I mean, there's the camera, but will they actually let me use this as evidence? This is Prosecutor Blackwood leaving the scene after the incident around 3 p.m. What I'm wondering is, did the video show anyone else passing by before then? I don't see anything in the investigation report. Looks like they didn't check. Just as I thought. Never do. We rewind the footage and go back to around 2 p.m. We should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene. I'm more doubting the game on that one. Sometimes they, like, oh, you can use the camera, and I show video, and it's like, oh, well, that's not a camera. Very well, then, let's take a look. How would you even... We don't have... Okay, whatever. There, please stop it right there. Just like you said, there's a man leaving the scene of the crime, and he has a bandage around his hand. Why did no one see that before? Ugh. Miss Sykes, do you remember this person? That's him. I'm sure of it. I know, nobody checked. She died between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. and nobody checked. I don't know. I feel like if I was in a scene of a murder, I'd be like, no, check the entire day, the entire recording of the whole day. I'm stumbling on my words. He's wearing my mother's jacket. But how'd the jacket get on the floor? I did, but what I really wanted to see was her jacket. That jacket on display, that was Dr. Sykes? Can you see it? There's a slash I made with the utility knife that day. I'm sure that knife is under the jacket somewhere. Just so then, everything Miss Sykes said. Exactly. Proves that Miss Sykes' memory was correct. Dr. Sykes' killer arrived at the robotics lab before 2 p.m. Killed her and hid her face with a handkerchief. Then, he disguised himself with Dr. Sykes' jacket and mask that were there in the lab. The culprit probably knew beforehand that Ponko charged up at 2 p.m. every day. They waited for Ponko to come to the lab before her regular recharge. By leaving Dr. Sykes' jacket on, the culprit was tricked Ponko into thinking he was Dr. Sykes, thereby making it look like she was alive up to that point in time. All to disguise the real time of death. It's a nice theory, Mr. Wright, but I'm afraid that it's just not possible. What? Why not? The victim's jacket is clearly visible right there in this video. And that right there is precisely the problem. The ID tag on the jacket in the scene confirmed beyond a doubt that it belonged to the victim. If the person who left the lab truly was wearing the victim's jacket, yeah, how could it possibly have wound up back at the crime scene? What's going on? That doesn't make sense. Edward's right. If the culprit was wearing the jacket now, how to get back to the lab? The victim brought it back. It's so tempting to press that one. Her ghost rose up from her grave and grabbed her jacket. I can only assume the killer brought it back. I mean, I guess. Yeah, you're right. It'll probably be really funny, so sure. Dr. Sykes must have brought it back to the lab herself. I'm afraid she would have had to come back from the dead to accomplish that feat. Care to explain to the court exactly how she managed it?
Objection!
Objection! Don't be ridiculous, Edgeworth. Everyone knows that's impossible. Exactly the prosecutor's point, Mr. Wright. Oh. Your Honor, please give me another chance. I'd be like, well, obviously she downloaded her brain into one of the robots. Obviously. Killer used the jacket as disguise to make his escape. But in order to conceal that fact, he had to get the jacket back to the crime scene. So the culprit simply returned to the robotics lab later and had it planted there. Contradiction resolved. Except that would have been impossible. Yeah, have you heard of spirit mediums? We've had a testimony from a ghost. We had a ghost commit a crime. The only people who came back to the robotics lab after the killer were Prosecutor Blackwell and the people who reported the body, and they claimed the jacket was there when they arrived. So, when do you propose this mysterious man of yours had the chance to return the jacket? A puzzling question indeed. When did the culprit have a chance to bring the jacket back? And then the body was found, I guess. The only time the culprit could have returned the jacket was when the body was found. Mr. Wright, do you realize the implication of that argument? I do. Most people, when they come across murder, focus their attention on the body. The culprit could have taken advantage of that split second to plant the jacket. In other words, the true culprit of this case, the man known as the Phantom, was one of the first people to discover the body. I would never have thought of that. Order! Order in the court. What is the meaning of this, Prosecutor Edgeworth? The body was discovered and reported by a group of 3 people. They were there to collect the space probe's capsule in preparation for the Hat 1 launch. Yeah, literally, like 60% of the time, the people who find the body first were probably the culprit. One of those people had a special bag to transport the capsule in. Oh, you mean the shock-resistant bag? Correct. I suppose that if the jacket was in that bag, it could have been returned to the scene of the crime without anyone noticing. I'll see to it that you get the reports on those 3 people. You will? I never get reports on anything. We should also check the facial recognition database for that robot. This person felt the need to hide his face with the theater mask. It might mean that his facial data was once registered. Prosecutor Edgeworth, does this mean... I have to admit, I believe Miss Sykes' memories to be credible. You win, right? Not that this was ever an official trial anyway. Do my ears deceive me? Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you really actually conceding? Is it true, boss? Does this mean... I can't believe it. It's over! I won! I proved that both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell are innocent. Your Honor, I see no need to further prolong this trial. Objection. Now it's my turn. Hold on, Mr. Wright. Have you forgotten who's in charge of this trial? That's right. I'm the one who's supposed to say I see no further... Not you either, Your Honor. Now silence. That little princess who was truly beloved by Metis and who repaid that love with death. All these years hating Athena was the only thing that kept me going. But what do I do now? Can anyone tell me? How am I supposed to go on? Miss Blackwell. How unlike you, Laura. Metis was deeply passionate about her work, and she chose you as her partner. Isn't that... Shut up, Simon! You know exactly how I felt about her. Her respect as a co-worker wasn't all that I wanted. What did you want from her? A ring! You really just go there, Your Honor? Laura, there's something I've wanted to say if you'll lend me an ear. A robotic ear. I have in my possession a lead on who Metis' murder is. You do? Right, Dono, you asked me about the identity of the Phantom of 7 years ago past. That's right. The Phantom. Person Blackwell's been looking for, even from behind bars. 7 years ago, someone hatched a plan to sabotage the Hat 1 rocket. The spy. But he was no ordinary spy. We knew naught about him. His background, appearance... If it's the other assassin I'm aware of, I will be surprised. Came to refer to him as... the Phantom. At the time, I was working with the police to hunt him down. And then one day, a miracle occurred, and I obtained a lead on him. Oh, how exciting. What was the lead? Please tell it to this open court. So he can, cut them down. Born in the Phantom's voice, but the quality was too poor for proper voice analysis. Yet I had hope. Laura's co-worker was a scientist who could analyze human emotions. So I asked her to evaluate the recording using analytical psychology. And that scientist was Dr. Sykes. Yes, a spy's greatest fear is to have his true identity discovered. In addition to the Hat 1, Dr. Sykes' result in the recording was surely among his targets. But his search for the Space Center bore no fruit, so he must have started to panic. He couldn't find them, but where could they have been? Who is to say? Wow, I bet he's never let that out of his sight all these years. How in the world you smuggled them into prison? I just stuffed them under my shackles. Fulbright never looked under them. Oh, I have my ways. What's more, my partner's especially talented at that sort of thing. Oh, there you are. I worked to lure the Phantom in by spreading rumors that throughout the underworld. Even granted permission to prosecute cases to attract the Phantom's attention. Just try to retrieve your identity, you bloody butcher. Became my 2-1. And what about the results Dr. Sykes drew up for you? Was there any useful information? Here, you can see for yourself. But take good care of it. It's all I have left of my mentor. I will. I better hold on to this real tight and don't let Trucy get it. Doesn't experience feelings like normal people do. Uh-oh, I can see the minigame coming. Psychological profile. Classified. The emotional output of this voice extremely weak compared to typical voices. Subject deemed to have a unique psychological makeup with almost no emotional fluctuation. No emotional fluctuation, huh? A spy who experiences no emotions, not sadness nor anger, and naturally no fear. Always happy, though. He's the very definition of a phantom, a monster with no heart. Don't you see? This creature is the rot that destroyed our lives and set what ails us into motion. The Phantom indeed, a fitting name for the one who has brought darkness to our world. Well then. Seems a faint image of this man has started to take shape. Based on what we have learned, I'd like all of you to conduct further investigation. Not a formal trial, but I do want to follow protocol. If I may, I'd like to hand down my verdicts and bring these proceedings to an end. Whatever. Do what you want. You'll hear no objections from me. Yes, please, Your Honor. It's over. It's finally over. Very well. In that case, Prosecutor Blackwell, could you please take the stand? I'm already here. As with all this trial, your innocence has been proven. The verdict handed down 7 years ago is hereby overturned. Okay, I don't know if that's intentional, but his shackle is like a... Or maybe that's a rock. I think that's just a rock, actually, on the witness stand. It looked like part of his shackle was on top of it. Now, the defendant of the current trial, Miss Athena Sykes. Yes, Your Honor. Okay, it's definitely just a rock. I never look down at it. I always look at their face. Mr. Wright, thank you. Thank you for everything. Athena, you're more than welcome. Everyone's ready. I'll now give my verdict. Objection. You! Hey, how's it going? It's me, Apollo. Apollo? What is the meaning of this? Heh. Congratulations, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Edgeworth. You uncovered the truth from 7 years ago and you saved Prosecutor Blackwell. However, I can't allow this trial to end just yet. For the, 6th time. Why, Apollo? Why would you do this to us? To be continued again. I guess it's not day 2, but I still expected, I don't know, 1.5. I thought we were done. Mr. Justice, please explain yourself. It's very simple. There isn't much to explain. The defendant, Miss Athena Sykes, might not be innocent. What are you talking about? The case from 7 years ago has been settled. I'm not talking about past year. I'm talking about present case. Still not clear who killed Clay Taryn. But Apollo, why would you... Miss Sykes, please listen quietly to what I have to say. What in the world is Apollo trying to do? Your Honor, please allow me a little of the court's time. But this is a trial for the case of 7 years ago. Miss Blackwell, I'd like to ask a favor of you. Just as you lost someone close to you, I lost someone close to me, too. I'm sure you want to know the real truth of what happened as much as I do. Apollo. Sure, you know I'm all about for the truth. Now let's see you expose the princess's guilt. Judge, I give my permission. Continue with the trial. Very well, I guess I don't have a choice. Is that alright with you, Prosecutor Edgeworth? Prosecution has no objections. Let's hear Mr. Justice's testimony. I'll have the police investigation report brought immediately. Not you too, Edgeworth. Really hope it's because you have something up your sleeve. He only has trading cards up his sleeve. Very well, your opening statement, please, Prosecutor Edgeworth. As you wish. Let's review the case of the murder of Mr. Clay Terran. It made clear at the previous trial that Solomon Starbuck was not his killer. Therefore, the true culprit was someone else. On that day, this culprit waited for the astronauts in boarding lounge 1, when the two men made their escape out of the Space Museum. The killer attacked Mr. Terran with the same type of knife that was used 7 years ago. In fact, it's probably even the same exact knife. We never found it. The murderer then escaped into the Space Museum. Next, Director Yuri Cosmos switched the launch pads. I think we're getting a recap because I've forgotten part of this. After that, the culprit exited Space Museum and escaped via boarding lounge 2. Therefore, this trial must make clear who Mr. Terran's true killer was, or, in other words, we must discover who it was that escaped through the Space Museum that day. Thank you, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Mr. Wright, is the defense ready? Yeah, about as ready as I can be, Your Honor. Better rearrange my evidence. Relevant evidence swapped into the court record. Better double check my evidence. We still have this. That's fun. Cause of death, stabbing. Oh yeah, we got the security camera back. And the door. And this stupid thing. That's a lot of evidence. Oh, it's the ladder. Okay, I was like, I don't remember a box being lowered. Mr. Thomas and Terran are authorized. Why Terran? Starbucks prints were found on the scanner. Now then, Mr. Justice, your testimony, if you please. I suspected Miss Sykes of the murder of Clay Terran. My growing suspicions were confirmed when this incriminating evidence presented itself. In addition, she's the only one who could have utilized the launchpad switch to escape. That is why I wish to indict Miss Sykes on the charge of murder. Order! Order in the court! Mr. Justice, you realize you're charging your own co-worker with murder, don't you? Yes, Your Honor. Because it's the only conclusion my investigation has led me to. But Apollo, why? How could you suspect me too? Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. I don't get it. Just what have you found out over the past few days to make you think this? Guess I'll just sit over here, by the way. Can I get these shackles off? At the very least. What first made you suspicious of Miss Sykes? It all started with when Miss Sykes and I were investigating the crime scene. When she saw the weapon that killed Mr. Terran, my bracelet reacted. Said she'd never seen the knife before, but my bracelet told me otherwise. Then every time after that, my bracelet would react when she talked about the case. Poor Apollo must be beside himself during that investigation. I didn't know what to do or what to think. I couldn't even sleep. In that condition, I knew I wouldn't be any good in court. So I decided to wear an eye patch, so I wouldn't be able to perceive any of her tells. So that's why Apollo was acting strangely. I mean, I guess he does have the whole eye thing, but I hope he didn't walk into any walls with his depth perception gone. But the reason Miss Sykes unconsciously reacted to the knife that way is because she stabbed her mother's murder with one identical to it 7 years ago. Objection! That knife was also the murder weapon that was just used to kill Clay Terran. My bracelet could have also reacted to her because she knew she was his killer too. I guess he has a point. Although I don't know if the bracelet thing holds up in court. My bracelet wasn't the only reason I became suspicious of her.
Hold it!
Why is that incriminating? That's the lighter that was found at the Space Museum with her fingerprints on it, right? But even if it seems decisive, there must be other facts we don't know about it yet. If that's so, go ahead and prove it then. Look, honestly, I don't want to believe it's true either. But Miss Sykes was the only one in the Space Museum at the time of the murder. But Mr. Justice, Miss Sykes had absolutely no motive to kill Mr. Terran. Objection. 7 years ago, Miss Sykes lived at the Cosmos Space Center. Wouldn't it be strange if she had some kind of connection to him? Besides, people sometimes kill for motives we can't even imagine. Like, I don't know. Stabbing someone for a piece of gold that might not even be there, you know, for example. Or stabbing someone because they found out that you were being not really blackmailed, but accepting money to get someone higher grades, you know, just for example. I know you've seen plenty of cases like that in your own career, Mr. Wright. I still can't believe this. How can you actually suspect Athena, Apollo? The only one who could have utilized the launch pad to switch to escape.
Hold it!
I don't actually know what I'm looking for yet. Isn't it possible someone else used the same escape route? I'm afraid not, Mr. Wright. Why not? Recall the security camera in the boarding lounge 1 aimed at the launch pad door. It's the camera that captured Mr. Terran and Mr. Starbuck. There's also another security camera in boarding lounge 2. It recorded Mr. Terran's killer, or rather Miss Sykes, coming out of the Space Museum. Camera in boarding lounge 2, first I've heard of it, but it makes sense. Nina said she had snuck into the Space Museum the night before the incident, and was overcome and passed out until about noon the next day. I was out until noon about the next day. I didn't know anything about the explosions. When I woke up, nobody was around, so I just went around to boarding lounge 2. That must have been when the camera captured her. And that's what made Apollo suspect her even more. But wait a minute. In that case, it most likely recorded the true culprit as well. Objection. And that's a negative on that one, Mr. Wright. Footage is taken after the incident. Miss Sykes is the only one who appears. What? Why? I don't know. Order! Order in the court! That can't be, but if it is, it's incredibly incriminating. Wasn't it you who proved the previous trial that the way the true culprit escaped was via the Space Museum after the pads had been switched? A fact you previously proved turned on its ear, leaving your client high and dry. I must say, that is vintage Phoenix Wright. Alright, shut up. Don't twist the knife, metaphorically.
Hold it!
Leaving your client to the end is a basic principle of good defense. Shouldn't you extend the same principle to your own co-worker? You're probably right. Maybe I'm not even fit to be a lawyer. However, I don't care. This case is special to me. My best friend, man. So yeah, fair. Clay was my friend. That's why I just have to know the truth. Oops. Apollo suspected his trusted co-worker of killing his friend. To dispel his doubt, he investigated on his own, but that only led to more doubts. Apollo must be really struggling with this. Well, Apollo may have doubts, but... Say it again, Athena Sykes isn't the murderer. Then I have only one thing to say. Evidence is everything in court. Well, Mr. Wright, think you have concrete proof to knock down my arguments? Your arguments have been very clear, Mr. Justice. Your facts appear to be indisputable. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you think of my theory? My court theory? I think it's a load of baloney. Looks like even you can deny it. Miss Sykes is the only one who used the only possible escape route. Under these circumstances, there could be no other suspect but the defendant. Unless literally everyone just used it after... whatever. Unless... You think there was an alternative escape route? Is that what you think, Mr. Wright? Is that what you think, Mr. Wright? Is that what you think, Phoenix? Oh, you didn't say Mr. Wright. Was there an alternative escape route? Of course. Yeah, of course there must have been. Just don't ask me what. You're just bluffing again, aren't you? I know how you work. Me? Bluff? No way! He knows me too well. Must purge the ranks. He's fired after this. It's fine, Mr. Wright. Even a bluff would suit me just fine. As long as you can clear up this doubt inside me. Wait, so that's what this was all about? I want to believe in Athena. I really do. But what is faith without doubt? What is doubt without faith? That's why I need to question her guilt. Once the truth finally comes out, I can really fully trust her. So you can really trust me? Look at me. I'm the yellow monkey to your red monkey. We're supposed to get along. I'm apparently the purple monkey. Seems your junior partner has just showed us what trials are really all about. I believe you're right. We prosecutors painstakingly question every detail in pursuit of the defendant. And, you know, sometimes we may modify things a little bit, or kill someone, you know. But we lawyers believe in and defend our clients to the end. When both sides go all out against each other, that's when we discover the truth. And, you know, I sit here and just kind of make things harder for everybody. Precisely, and when the battle's over, we understand the true meaning of trust. Exactly what trials are all about, wouldn't you agree? Do you all trust me? Yeah, I couldn't ignore the seed of doubt that was growing inside me. So I decided I needed to face it head on. That's why I applied this bandage directly to my giant forehead. No matter what the truth is that's waiting for ahead, I won't be afraid. That's so like Apollo, always uber earnest about things like this. We've had plenty of trial and error, right? Mr. Justice, I vow to dispel every last bit of doubt in your heart. Good. Because I want to believe in Miss Sykes again. And you know, it's really heavy. You're really hoping there was an alternative route, aren't you, Apollo? But I've used the process of elimination, there really aren't that many possibilities. Nah, there's one pretty glaring one, isn't there? Director Cosmos is at the southern exit, leaving only the control room and the corridor inside to the Space Museum. Which door could the culprit have escaped through? Come on, Mr. Wright, where do you think the culprit escaped to? The control room's the only one that would be open, right? But they wouldn't really have access to that. Can I put here? Also, oh no, my health carried over. You lied to me. Mr. Wright, you sure are taking a while. It's fine. Even if I almost die, I can just save state. So we don't have to go through everything again. I mean, I can use my totally legitimate save and load system. But you know, it's fine. I wonder if they made actual plushies of these. And all of them came with like a tiny fake bomb inside them. But one of them was real. I only make original jokes though.
Take that!
There? I doubt anyone could escape that way. Can you say with certainty it is impossible? Okay. Yes, I believe I can. I guess you're right. Please be serious, Mr. Wright. Ow. Well, that was an actual hit. Ba, 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 ba.
Take that!
They really only could have escaped to the corridor of the Space Museum. All they had to do was use the unconscious Mr. Starbucks Prince to get through the door. Objection! It appears that all you were trying to establish is that Miss Sykes' guilt. Gilbert used that route, the only exit would have been into the boarding lounge too. Not true. Logical conclusion to your argument is that the killer is none other than the defendant. Ugh. I knew it. That's the only way it could be, huh? He's sweating through his bandage. If the culprit could escape to the corridor that leads to the Space Museum, then I guess it's true. The only exit would have been to the boarding lounge too. But Miss Sykes was the only person captured by the boarding lounge 2 security camera. I investigated the crime scene thoroughly. But the only place the culprit could have escaped was the Space Museum corridor. There weren't any other secret corridors or anything. That leaves us with no other conclusion to draw but that Athena Sykes was the culprit. Look at the answer B. Was there really no other escape route? But hold on a second. What if... Where did those mysterious leaves in the corridor come from? What if they are a clue to the culprit's real escape route? They just jumped! I think it is possible the culprit escaped to the Space Museum, and then came out using a route other than the boarding lounge 2. Oh? Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum were switched after the bombing, meaning... Space Museum corridor was moving along the rail at the time, which exactly when an alternative escape route opened for our culprit. Are you kidding me? Judging by the intense look in your eyes, I take it you're serious. Serious, right. Very well then, Mr. Wright, do tell. Where could the culprit have gone from the museum corridor besides boarding lounge number 2? The launch site, I guess?
Take that!
Found something odd while investigating the museum corridor this afternoon. Namely, a few dead leaves on the floor. Considering where dead leaves come from, they point us to exactly where the culprit escaped to. Yeah, I remember seeing some leaves myself. Do you mean... Yep, while the Space Museum was in motion, just beyond the corridor's safety door was an alternative place that the culprit could use to escape. In other words, the culprit's real escape route was... the area outside the Space Center. You're freaking insane!
Objection!
Do you know how impossible that would be? That corridor is level with the 3rd floor. Even if the culprit tried to leap outside the wall outside the Space Center building, they would fall to their death. Ordinarily, yes. But after the bombing incident, the culprit can make use of a certain item. And what item was it exactly, Mr. Wright? Alright, this is what the culprit used to leap outside the wall of the main building. Now we get this.
Take that!
An emergency ladder? There's an emergency ladder in front of the 4th floor robotics lab. It was used that day after the explosion to help evacuate people. Miss Blackwell herself used that ladder to escape down to ground level. Recall the launch pads were switched after the ladders were lowered. He jumped out right there. The corridor would have passed by the ladder while the pads were being switched. And that's when the culprit literally sprang into action. And leapt onto the ladder. What? Who would have imagined? Who else but Phoenix? Order! Order in the court! Wow, an alternative escape route seems to have emerged. Which means someone other than Miss Sykes could have been the culprit, right? Objection! Making things up on the fly in an attempt to sway the court again, are we, Mr. Wright? Your theory has so many holes, it puts Swiss cheese to shame. I'll take that as a compliment. Alright then, name one. I have one detailed information about the Space Center. According to this, the distance between the museum corridor and the main building during the movement is a full 20 feet. 20 feet? That's 18 more feet than I have. You're pulling my leg, right? Which has one of my feet. In addition, the corridor is 3 floors from ground, or roughly 50 feet. What's more, the culprit would be leaping to a precarious place. An unstable ladder. Yeah, and? Human beings feel fear in dangerous situations. It's a basic survival instinct. An ordinary person would certainly hesitate before jumping. Or even freeze in fear and not jump at all. Objection? We just went over this. The culprit just murdered someone. They weren't in an ordinary state of mind. Objection? Nevertheless, why would they have taken that kind of risk? They could have waited for the switch to be complete and escaped the boarding lounge too. Objection? They just murdered someone. Because there was a security camera in boarding lounge 2. The culprit knew they would be recorded if they left the Space Museum that way. In that case, the culprit could have hidden in the museum until things settled down. And then blended in with the other people in the museum after the museum was opened. I think they would have noticed, but, you know. That's a good point. But you claim that, despite all this, the culprit took a 20-foot death-defying leap? And all in the brief moment the corridor and ladder passed by each other? That's, also a good point. They would have needed a running start while the corridor was moving to make that jump. If their timing was off, or they couldn't jump far enough, it would have been instant death. Not instant, they would have fallen for at least 2 seconds. What kind of person would attempt something like that? Stop bringing up good points, Edward. This true culprit of yours is nothing but a figment of your imagination. A phantom. Why do you always have a point out everything? Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth, right. That does sound pretty insane. The culprit would have to be someone who feels no fear, like a stuntman. But everyone feels fear on some level, right? Wait a minute. Aha! I've got it this time. I can prove that there's someone who could have used this alternative escape route. Oh, can you now? Really? This proves the possibility of a person who could have used this alternative escape route.
Take that.
What's that, Mr. Wright? I wasn't here for the past, 2 hours. This certain person's a very interesting psych profile. The subject doesn't experience feelings like normal people do. In other words, this person doesn't feel happiness, sadness, or fear. Doesn't feel fear. What? Right. You can't be serious. Without the constraints of fear, he could easily do what an ordinary person wouldn't dare. Just as you or I could do a broad jump on the ground without the slightest fear. This subject could make a 20-foot leap, 50 feet up in the air. He could choose this extreme way of escaping without hesitation. So you're saying that to a person without fear, the alternative route would be quicker and eliminate the chance they'd be spotted? Considering he killed someone. That's definitely pretty extreme, Mr. Wright. Where'd the leaves come from, though? Was there such a person there at the scene? Yes, the Phantom. That mysterious shadowy figure keeps popping up. Oh dear! The Phantom? Again? I knew the Phantom was there behind the scenes of the Space Center bombing. I wasn't sure if he was connected to the murder of Clay Tarrant as well. However, now it's all clear. The Phantom is the one who not only bombed the Space Center, but also killed Mr. Tarrant. What? What? There. Had to swap their voices. Even though I think they sound roughly the same. Order in the court, order I say. Mr. Wright, please continue. Like, seriously. There's just too many similarities between this case and the one from 7 years ago. But why, you may ask? It can only be because both incidents were the work of the same Phantom. So then this Phantom is the one who killed Clay? But who is he? This Phantom has been haunting this case, pulling the strings in the background. Who could this unidentified international spy be? Right, this escape route must have been part of the Phantom's plan from the start, as was tricking Director Cosmos into switching the launch pads. The bomb on the second floor was meant to make the elevators and stairs unusable. That's why he gave the advance warning and planted bombs where he did. Yeah, I think you're right. But it doesn't explain this one last thing. So I lowered my emergency ladder like the detective leading the evacuation told me to. But it was such a pain, why couldn't they have used the ladders in the other rooms? Robotics lab wasn't the only room with an emergency ladder. But he couldn't have made that leap unless he was certain which one it would be. So you mean... the Phantom must be someone who knew that particular ladder was going to be used? That's right. Who could it be? Wait a minute. So I lowered my emergency ladder like the detective leading the evacuation told me to. Miss Blackwell lowered the ladder after being told to by the detective leading the... You've got to be kidding me! My eyes are gone! Did you figure it out, right? Do you know who the Phantom is? Yes, I do. Who is it? Who killed Clay? Our mysterious spy knows the Phantom is none other than... Well... This is one of the most surprising twists. But, you know, that does slightly explain things. His emotions usually are all over the place. After the explosion, a member of the staff crossed paths with a certain detective. I was on duty at the 4th floor. It was quite the madhouse, I tell you. As for the detective who was leading the evacuation from the 4th floor, he had a very specific objective in mind. So I lowered my emergency ladder like the detective leading the evacuation told me to. His objective was to secure his own escape route. We lowered an emergency ladder from a 4th floor window and escaped that way. Once everyone else got out safely, I made my way downtown too and headed to the shelter. This is a detective you all know. He's even the lead detective on the current case. He's even in this courtroom as we speak. He appears to be a very emotional man, but his psych profile says he's without emotion. That's right! It's me! What are you saying? You mean the Phantom Detective Bobby Fulbright? Exactly. We were all taken in by his fake persona. Detective Fulbright's real identity is the Phantom. Bailiff! Order on the court! Mr. Wright, how could this be? It's easy, Your Honor. Detective Fulbright is leading the 4th floor evacuation effort. Our first clue is that he made no attempt to have any other ladder put to use. The ladder in the robotics lab is the only one he ordered to be lowered. The second is that he directed everyone to the basement shelter via this ladder. Verily, it was all part of his plan to create an escape route. After Detective Fulbright saw that the ladder was lowered from the robotics lab, he went to the lounge where he killed Clay, Terran, and escaped to the Space Museum. The museum started moving slowly, so he waited for the right time, got a running start. And just as the corridor was passing the ladder, he leapt onto it. Oh, and thanks for the fun reference, Reborn. It is neat when they mirror the animations. I'm still glad Pearls has all of her old animations, just, you know, taller. As the corridor was passing by, he leaped onto it. I don't believe it. That addle-pated detective did all that? What, was it really him? I mean, all this time I thought... Sorry, we didn't catch your name. My name? I'm Bobby Fulbright. The heroic detective who defends all good citizens from evil. The champion of justice who comes running whenever you're in need. And my catchphrase, in justice we trust. Then, his concern for Simon was also just one big act? I swore to reform Prosecutor Blackwell and make him a valued member of society again. So I can't just sit by and watch him give in to his emotions and tear the defendant apart. That monster killed Clay? He had me completely fooled. Come to think of it, he's the one who brought that bloodstained lighter to court too. This scumbag even made me turn on Athena. Dang it. How the heck did I fall for all that? For him to have wormed his way into the police department as well. Ugh. That's happened like at least 7 times. Your Honor, the defense demands to question Detective Bobby Fulbright. Yes, I agree we need to hear from him right away. Court will take a short recess, and then Detective Fulbright will take the stand. Your Honor, he ran the second you said his name. Well, what a great twist. I know there was something wrong with him, but I didn't think he was a murderer. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. Hang on, I'll give it a look. Can we get more chairs in here? Not sure I understand the defense's request. It'd be stupid. I was honestly thinking that for the robots too. Like they have 2 different sets of boxes just for the robots. It's like just put them on the same set of boxes. At least. I guess they wouldn't fit. Wasn't for everything you did, don't thank me yet. We still have an uphill battle to fight. You got it, boss. Oh, you can still see his other eye actually moving. Yeah, they should put one of those rotating doors. Just instead replace it with a chair, and every time, like, everyone should be there. Like, they have all the models. Just load all of them in, and every time one of them speaks, just rotate them around in a circle. They just, like, press a button to do it. And then at the end, they all press the button and fly out of the chairs. Apollo! Hi. Well, this is awkward. I should leave. Where is Pearls? Athena, can you do me a favor? Smack me. Huh? What is it? Could you punch me, please? Yeah, I figured. But what? Why should I do that? Because I should have believed in you. I let the seed of doubt inside me get the best of me. I'm really sorry that I didn't try— Ow! Don't be such a dope. I was really touched by what you did. I was also really touched when you smacked me, huh? What are you talking about? It's very Apollo. You could tell what he was gonna say. I want to believe in Athena. I really do. What is faith without doubt? That's why I need to question her guilt. Once the truth finally comes out, I can really fully trust her. Right now, punch him so hard that he goes back to his old model and loses the eye patch. He can keep the coat. You took the time and effort to genuinely think about who I am and what I'm made of. But I am all of me. I'm gonna switch to my shadow appearance. After all that, how could I punch a true friend like you? Didn't have any trouble slapping him a second ago. That's because Billy told me to. Thanks, Athena. Thanks for waking me up inside to reality again. Guess I know who to call if I ever get sleepy in court. Looks like you have some promising young people working under you, right? Edworth, your glasses are back. Yeah, I think they're pretty great myself. And they're not afraid to keep me in line. Or smack me. Anyways, I have some very good news. Aura Blackwell surrendered and the hostages have been set free. Trucy and all the others— oh, thank goodness. But Miss Blackwell said she had something she really needed to do. So I granted her special permission to do what she must. I wonder what that is. I hope it's not equipping her robot with a gun. Oh right, my daughter. Hello, Opie. Hope you're having a good day. Hello, I'm here. Miss Blackwell! I didn't come to apologize, if that's what you're thinking. My actions are what allowed the truth of what happened 7 years ago to come to light. But I did come because I had something to say to all of you. Miss Aura. Better not be here to complain about something. Miss Blackwell, I want to apologize to you. The fact that you couldn't trust the court system is our fault. Ha ha ha! Yes, it's true, the courts are filled with incompetent idiots. Still, I suppose I could let you handle the rest of this case for me. Oh, Miss Art, does it mean you're starting to trust the system again? Please don't hit me. Dang it. No, of course not. Be quiet, hunk of junk. I shouldn't have expected much. It's just, I wouldn't mind if you were the ones who took Metis' killer down. Leave it to us. We'll get him. That's right, I'm gonna be there too. Guess that means she's starting to trust us, at least. Hey, I'm still here. As it turns out, Fulbright has my keys to my shackles, so they're still part of the model. Hey, Aura. Simon, I'm so glad both you and the princess were cleared of all suspicion. It's all thanks to me and my robots. You better be grateful. I never imagined you would go that far. Though you always were extreme. I don't recall ever requesting your help, so why would I thank you for it? As close as ever, I see. Well, now that you've been released, I guess it's my turn to go live in the slammer. I just hope you're not the prosecutor for my trial. You'd probably give me a death penalty. In a heartbeat. You know me all too well. I guess love can take on a variety of expressions, including stunted in their case. But I truly was about to be executed tomorrow. Though because of you, looks like I won't be crossing the sticks just yet. And cough up those 2 coins. You have my heartfelt thanks, Aura. I'm sorry I caused you so much anguish. Simon. Now hug. I'm so glad, Simon. So very glad to hear you say that. Aura. Alright, that's enough of that. Bailiff, take me to the detention center. Nah. What Miss Blackwell did was inexcusable. But it's clear she did it out of love for her brother. And then she'll get released because all of the hostages will be like, no, she treated us pretty well. She gave us soup. Trucy entertained us with magic tricks. She kept threatening us, but she'd always apologize, so... Still can't wrap my mind around Detective Fulbright being the Phantom. I can't believe he killed Clay! Right. And murdered my mentor, which brought great distress upon little Athena. Hi, Athena, by the way. Chief Prosecutor. Yes? I would ask a favor. Would you allow me to stand at the prosecutor's bench for this trial? I wish to claim the Phantom's head by my own hand. That was my plan all along. After all, it's highly unconventional for a man of my position to stand in court. Sir, the formal paperwork has yet to be filed, but you're hereby conditionally released. Please take the prosecutor's bench in your official capacity, and uncover the truth by your own hand. Can I take these off yet? I'm much obliged. Hooray! The day to part with these has come at last. Chief Prosecutor, could you? Actually, no, I don't have the key. Okay. Well, I'm glad Fulbright didn't have the keys. Finally free. How long I've waited. Maybe it's a sense of freedom, but even the air seems fresher, the light brighter, the quill blacker, and I will relish in slashing that blackguard Fulbright to shreds without mercy. Didn't call him Fulbright. I'd have to be able to read his heart to see how happy he is. I'm so glad, but I won't cry just yet. I have to be angry first. After all, we still got a trial to finish. It's okay to cry, Athena, I promise. Prosecutor Blackwell, Mr. Wright, please avenge Clay's death for me. What are you talking about, Apollo? You're coming to the defense's bench with me. I am? Oh man, I can't expect Athena to assist me, now can I? She's the defendant. He is? That leaves you, Apollo. Oh yeah, I guess technically he did indict her of it. But are you sure you want me? I took a leave of absence and everything. Well, that's okay. Our office is pretty short-handed, and you're all I've got. I mean, I got Pearls, but I don't know where the heck she went. I figured she'd be in here cheering, at least. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Apollo? Athena, I can say with all my heart now. I believe in you, in your complete innocence, and now we're gonna prove it to the world. Thank you, Apollo. I know you can do it.
So, you won't be needing that eye patch anymore, right?
Right, because I'm fine now.
I'm fine. Dramatic. You could keep the coat, though. You know, sure, he will keep the coat. Red monkey on the bench. Looking better already. Now this is the Apollo I know. Welcome back, Apollo. It's almost time for the trial to restart, though it looks like you have things well in hand. Yep. I should head back to the prosecutor's office. But why? I want to look into a few things, namely, the first people on the scene 7 years ago, the facial data registered by the robot, and Detective Fulbright's background. Sounds great, Edgeworth. Thanks. I expect to be repaid with a victory, right? And maybe free tickets to your daughter's show. Now if you'll excuse me. Okay, you two all set to go? You bet I am. I'm fine. Let's do this. This is it. The final battle. The murder of Apollo's friend. The courtroom bombing incident? And the case that ushered in the dark age of the law 7 years ago. Destiny has called us to bring the one responsible for it to justice today. I was expecting another comment, but... The question is, should I pause it here? Because I'm not going to want to stop, but I am expecting minor noise. This is the final trial, probably. How long do you think it'll take? Well, I'm sure I don't know where this is. Well, I know where it is. We're in courtroom number 4. I appreciate that we're still in the broken courtroom. I'm sure it does, because you're probably gonna be... We're probably gonna go through every single thing he's done and prove him to be guilty. And his emotions are gonna be off the charts. Ooh, I wonder if we get to use Apollo's lie thing. Well... For the sake of everything, I think we will call it for today. Have Phoenix stare at us forever. So, I guess next time will be the finale. So I hope you look forward to that. And yeah, I'll check up and see if I can get the DLC. And we'll do like an extra one before we go on to the next game. Because I do have that, at least. Let's see. Can I go to the thing from here? Oh, I can. Like, if I go to DLC, it does anime cutscenes, illustrations, and that's it. What happens if I press X? That's what it does. Please scan the main story to see the illustrations. Fair, fair. So I don't know how I would do that, but I will look it up. Yeah, sadly they shut down the eShop, so I can't use it. Also, did you hear they actually put out a thing to hurt modders for the 3DS, even though they've stopped supporting it? They're so weird. But for now, this will be the end of our great journey. I will be back on Wednesday with more stuff, but I might be back later with other things. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm somewhat eager to see the end. But it's going to take a lot to bring down Bobby Fulbright. Haha! We no longer trust in justice. Can't believe his catchphrase is "Injustice we trust." And he hurt justice. He hurt Mr. Justice. Menu. Thanks a lot for watching and listening to my silly voices. I will see you later. Boy for now. And remember to not go crazy.